most notable achievements. On a less successful note, I wanted to talk to you about his campaign for the 15-week abortion ban, because I know that a lot of people said, okay, if this goes through, then we'll win back control of the Senate. And Youngkin, I actually, irrespective of what I think of abortion, I kind of wish it had gone through, because then Youngkin might have challenged Trump. And I thought he was my choice for the person that would most likely be the best challenger. But people don't like bans, so it went down, and Democrats or Republicans lost seats in the Senate. So I just love to know your reflections on that. What could you have done better? What are just your thoughts?
Personally, I wish he just wouldn't have talked about it, because like I told you, our state is so divided, and we lost, seats up and down, or just, don't have control now of the state legislature, the Senate, or the Assembly. I just wish he wouldn't have talked about it, because we've done a good job, I think, of pushing abortion down. It's back in the states. Maybe that was before. No, that was right after Roe v. Wade. I just wish he had. Yeah, I wish he hadn't talked about it. Women are worried about.
No, it was before Dobbs, because it was the end of 21, and Dobbs was June 22. So
okay, and then
no, it was after, because Youngkin won in 21. And
right.
he took office.
I'm sorry, you're right. It was after.
Right. It was after. I just wish he hadn't talked about it, to be honest. I mean, they spent $2 million on that ad buy. It ran in Northern Virginia, where I live, and it just made people talk about it again. And at that point, Glenn's, I think his decision at 15 weeks was made. I have not talked to them about it, but I do believe it's based on heartbeat or when the baby felt pain. It wasn't just an arbitrary 15 weeks. So they had reason and research behind it, but it was not the time to bring it up. A lot of
European nations have that ban as well.
15,
Those are exceptions. You can get out of it for financial reasons. So it's not quite apples to apples, but
right. So it wasn't, like he just picked the number. But I wish he hadn't brought it up, because I think a lot of women were at that time really still upset about schools and what was going on in their schools and the economy, and there were other things. And it just brought abortion back to the forefront. It gave them a reason to not vote for Republican, reminded them of it. But he didn't ask me. But I would have said, stop talking about it.
What say you, Carrie, as a leading anti-choice person?
I think you mean pro-life person, Dave.
Resist.
This is how I identify as pro-life, Dave.
I'm just teasing you.
I know. But it's interesting, because Virginia is a purple state. And as much as I personally think we should never have abortion, it's interesting. I was reflecting a lot about kind of the approach that Martin Luther King took versus the Malcolm X approach when it came to civil rights. So this is just as an analogy. Martin Luther King was all about bringing people along with him, whereas Malcolm X was sort of about scorched earth, just burn it all down. And in the end, we don't have Martin Luther King Jr. We have Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We don't have Malcolm X Day as a federal holiday, because Martin Luther King Jr., I think in a lot of ways, was a lot more effective at turning people's hearts and minds, because he was meeting people where they were. And so as a pro-life activist, I think, given that Virginia is a purple state, it's like, well, how can we meet people where they are and make the case for life, versus taking a more scorched earth approach? And I understand. I think Trump has threaded the needle on abortion pretty well in 24 by saying it's now off the table as a federal issue. It is back with the people, which is where it is more lowercase d democratic to allow that process. So in that respect, I think Glenn was exercising the lowercase d democratic muscles to let the people decide. But I agree with Ellen that politically it kind of backfired because of the timing of it being so close after Dobbs. And so, I think overall, the pro-life team, we have our work cut out to make the case for life, because I think right now, even after Dobbs, the Dobbs decision, which was very exciting, it was kind of like the dog finally caught the car, and then now what does the dog do? And there wasn't much of a roadmap to create a culture of life where people really see, as I do, that abortion is a human rights issue. And to me, it truly is. And that abortion is an act of violence. It's a destruction of an innocent human life.
I know,
And
we
to have
know.
as a human rights case. And to
Well, then, based on your philosophy, obviously you would oppose a national abortion ban, right? Because it should be a state's issue.
I'm saying that was Trump's approach.
No, I'm asking you, but because based on what you said, then it should be a state's issue. So we shouldn't have a national abortion ban. I just want to get you on the record for that. So
I'm not saying that I personally would like to have one, but again, I think
but
that
legally you agree that it's very suspect because you can't say it's a state's issue. You say, well, it's a state's issue, except we need to have a federal ban. Come on.
No. I actually think federally there is a case to be made under the Equal Protection Clause, but let's not pull Ellen into this.
All right. Yeah, let's
talk
not.
about racism.
Y'all talked about that before.
So let's